Now, there was a time not so long ago when everyone and their mom was talking about bulking. All of the biggest fitness influencers were talking about bulking, and everyone was hopping on this one thing and saying how bulking was getting them insane gains. Now, about 8 months ago, I made the decision to join everyone and hop on this bulk train. So I actually went on the bulk. I started eating more calories, and at first I started eating clean. I did it the right way. I was bulking, eating clean, healthy, organic foods, lean meats, chicken breast. But at some point, when I started first seeing results, I pushed it. I started to push it. And then I slowly started to do a dirty bulk where my calories weren't as clean. I was just sort of eating everything I could see. If there was 3 cereals, let's say there was Wheat Bix, cornflakes, Cocoa Pops, and I couldn't decide between which one I wanted, I would just have all 3 of them. Why? Because I was bulking. I said I was bulking. Peak bulk, I gained about 10 kgs in 1 month. And that month was the turning point for me, because in that month I realized that there's no way this can all be muscle. And it wasn't all muscle. I was looking fluffier, I was looking softer. And that's when I realized I had taken the bulk too far. I'd gotten carried away. I'd gotten caught up in the scale numbers and the scale going up. And I eventually decided to go on a cut. It took me 6 months to cut down the fat that I had gained. And when I cut down, I eventually realized that I only gained about 1 to maybe 1.5 kgs of muscle mass. And it took me all that time to cut down, and I almost didn't even make the cut. But bulking is a lie, because yes, I gained 1.5 kgs of muscle mass, but it took me 2 months to bulk up and 6 months to cut down and lose the fat that I had gained. So in the end, it would have been the same amount of time if I had just maintained my body weight, didn't push my body weight too high, kept eating clean consistently, and gained a little bit of muscle. I probably would have gained the same amount of muscle without needing to cut down at the end of my bulk. So does bulking really even work? In my opinion, my habits were way healthier when I was lean, because you generally just eat cleaner, you eat healthier foods, and you watch your calories way better when you're leaner. When you're bulked up, your excuse is I'm bulking, so you just want to eat higher calorie stuff, and that makes you eat unhealthy. You end up eating ice cream, sugary sweets, things that are just higher calories. Why? Because your excuse is I'm bulking, so I need the calories anyway. And generally your habits tend to be, for me, I was walking 10,000 plus steps a day when I was cutting, but when I was bulking, so I didn't need to increase my calorie expenditure. So I've noticed your habits are just way different. When you're bulking, your habits aren't as good as when you're cutting. When you're cutting, you're leaner, you're sharp. Bulking just made me eat like a slob. It made me eat unhealthily. I wasn't even checking the food I was eating. I was just eating whatever I was given. I was just eating everything. But when you're cutting, you're more selective of the food you eat, because you have limited calories, so you can't just eat like rubbish. Main gaining, where you maintain your body weight and you slowly build muscle, it's way easier mentally, because you don't have to cut back down. For me, I almost didn't make the cut. I'm a very disciplined person, and I had to push hard. I had to dig deep, and I almost didn't make it, but I just had to keep pushing. If I realized I could build the same amount of muscle without needing to cut after, I would have done that anyway. The mental stress that cutting is, it's insane. It's so hard to cut, and I almost didn't make the cut. And I'm glad I finally made the cut. But a lot of people bulk up and then they just stay at that higher body fat percentage, because cutting down is seriously hard in terms of your mindset and mentally. Trust me, main gain, you rather maintain your same body weight, slowly build muscle, and keep that body fat, because if you push your body fat high, it's hard to get it back down. I really had to dig super deep to get lean again. It's very easy to lose yourself when you're bulking. You lose your discipline, you lose your habits, you lose your mindset. When I was bulking, I stopped waking up early because I didn't need to get steps in early in the morning. As I said, your diet is worse, so your mind is literally more foggy. You have more brain fog. But when you're bulking, it's easy to lose your true self and your identity, and lose your grounding in who you truly are, and you can literally become a lower, worse version of yourself. There's so many times when bulking's gone wrong. For example, when Jeff Side went on a bulk, he started clean bulking, and then eventually it turned into a dirty bulk, and he gained like 20 kgs of body fat. And in the end, he cut down and he realized he was the same weight, so he didn't really gain that much muscle. It took him 6 months to cut back down, and he almost lost himself. He stopped posting on social media, had low self-confidence. So is bulking really worth it? Bulking to me is just an ego thing, because you see the scale going up really fast, and you think you're making progress, but you're not. Just because the numbers going up on the scale, that doesn't correlate to progress. You're basically becoming a fatter version of yourself and calling it progress. Because I saw that month when I went from 83 kgs to 93 kgs, I was like, every single day I was just seeing the number on the scale going up, and I was so excited, but I wasn't even making that much progress. Yes, my lifts were going up, I was feeling strong, but I wasn't gaining that much muscle mass, because you can't gain more than like 1 kg of muscle mass a month. For me, I probably can't even gain like 500 grams of muscle mass more than that a month. The amount of muscle you can build is limited. I eventually realized that bulking was actually invented by fake natties to actually hide their cycles. So these guys who are claiming to be natural, they would go on this bulk, they would go on span gear, take span gear, and then they would eventually cut down and they would look stronger. But the reason they look strong is not from the bulk. It's actually because they were taking performance enhancers and then they were using the bulk to hide that they were taking it. And you couldn't tell because when someone's bulked, you can't see how much muscle mass they have under. Another example is when Sam Suluk went on a bulk and cut cycle. It took him 1 year to bulk up and cut back down. And in the two photos, he looked almost exactly the same. If you see these two examples from 1 year apart, he looks almost the same and he went on this bulk and cut. Why didn't he just maintain his same body weight, his same body fat percentage, and just build muscle? Then to bulk up and then cut back down if you're just going to end up looking the same anyway. Jeff Side actually started feeling super bad about himself when he kept bulking and he was getting to a higher body fat percentage. You lose your confidence when you like bulked up, when you high body fat. When you lean, you're sharp, you're confident, but when you bulking, you can lose yourself. So I'm not advocating people say super lean all year round, but this is the better approach. The better approach is to do lean bulking, which is different. It's almost like maintenance gaining. Maintain your body weight and slowly just build muscle. The way you do this is by going into a 200 to 300 calorie surplus and prioritizing protein. Everyone should be getting about 2.2 grams of protein per kg of body weight. If you weigh 70 kgs, you want to be having about 154 grams of protein per day. This will ensure that you maximize muscle building potential. When you're in a calorie surplus, you only need a small surplus to maximize muscle growth. If you go in a higher surplus like 500 or 600 calorie surplus, what you're doing is just increasing fat gain. So yes, you've already maximized muscle gain at a 200 to 300 surplus. If you go on a 500 surplus, now you're just increasing your fat gain. You want to make sure that your fat gain is as slow as possible. If you in a 200 to 300 calorie surplus, you will literally gain almost no body fat. It will just be muscle. It will mainly be muscle. Every single session, you want a progressive overload session to session. You should be tracking your progress, tracking how much weight you're lifting, how many reps you're doing, and you must keep a log on it on your phone. Before you go into your next set, you must look at that log. Okay, last time I did 50 kgs for 10 reps. Today, you have to set a goal in your mind that you can actually aim for. So today I'm going to do 50 kgs for 11 reps or 12 reps. When you set that goal, you're more likely to actually progress. If you don't have a goal, you're just going into the gym aimlessly, you don't have a target, you won't be able to progress. But when you have a clear goal in your mind, you're actually able to progress way faster. You want to track your progress, not just with the scale weight, but you want to see visual changes in your body. The reason why I went and took the bulk too far is because I wasn't seeing the visual changes. I didn't see that I was gaining fat. If you take progress photos, weekly progress photos, you want to look at your body and see, is what I'm gaining mostly muscle? Am I looking stronger? Am I looking bigger? Or am I just getting fluffier and softer? If you're getting fluffier and softer, it means you're just gaining fat. You want to lower your calories so that you're just gaining muscle. The only supplements I would recommend with lean bulking is creatine and protein. These do actually help. Protein helps you hit your protein targets, so you don't need protein if your natural diet already has enough protein in it. But protein powder is just to fill the gap that you can't reach in your natural diet. Nextly is creatine. Creatine does boost your workout performance. It helps you get those last 2-3 reps at the end of each set, which I think are the most important reps, because the last few reps are where you actually build muscle. When you're really struggling and you really can't get those last 2 reps, those are the last reps that are actually going to build the most muscle. So creatine helps you unlock those last 2-3 reps because it makes energy more readily available in your muscles, so you can actually push and get those last few reps and really push your last final effort. So in my opinion, creatine is actually really solid. People say supplements are 1%ers, but I think creatine is like at least 10 to 20%. I feel like I'm 10 to 20% better when I'm on creatine. One thing I've also noticed is just muscle fullness. Right now I've just hopped back onto creatine and I feel like, I don't know, my muscles are like more full and more packed and more dense. I look a little bit leaner just being on creatine. So it does make your muscles look more full than usual. So yeah, the moral of the story is don't bulk. It's not worth it. Don't do dirty bulking. Do lean, clean bulking, which I would call main gaining. Because when you swap to this bulking mindset, you just want to build, you just want to eat like crazy, and almost to a level that is uncontrollable. Like my mindset switched from eating clean, healthy, organic food to just eating everything I could possibly see, everything around me. I'll just eat it. And at the end of the day, I did build a lot of mass, but 90 to 95% of that was just body fat. It probably increased my muscle building potential just a little bit, but it was mainly just body fat gained, and it was an absolute fight to cut back down and get lean again. So in the end, I don't think it's worth it, but I'm trying to save you. Don't bulk.